Welcome. My name is Mr. Howell, as most of you know me. I'll be coming on this trip to Eastern Canada, which I've been to Ontario before, but I've never been further than that. So this is going to be quite exciting. As you can see, I'm in my lovely garage, which is where I work now, but I have a nice setup in front where you can't see. So I'm just going to talk a bit about my travel history. As a kid growing up, my parents only really took us camping. We didn't really go traveling outside of BC at all. We went to Saskatchewan. Actually, that's not true. We did go to Saskatchewan every year because my grandparents lived there. So we would drive to Saskatoon or Melfort and then all the way back home. When I was a bit older, my parents decided to take us on a trip, me and my brother, I think that was it, that's all who came, to Alaska and to Whitehorse. And we drove the entire way. So we drove the Alaska Highway from Kamloops all the way to Whitehorse and then to Skagway, Alaska. Massive trip. And I can't believe my parents did it, but it was fun and entertaining. And there were lots of different problems that arose during the trip. And we had to our van broke down and in the middle of, I think it was was it Dease Lake or something? Or yeah, because we did go to Dease Lake. I think we had to make a detour. Not exactly sure how that worked. Or Watson Lake. Anyways, yeah, so it was quite exciting. Quite the trip. Years later, after I got married, and before I had children, though, my wife and I actually decided to take a trip to Ontario. So for our first year anniversary, we went and we looked at the CN Tower, and we were able to climb the CN Tower, or not climb it, but take the elevator up, which goes very, very quickly, and to the very top, which they have this glass floor, which is terrifying. I barely was able to make it, but my wife was fine, and we took pictures. We went to Niagara Falls the same trip, which was quite fun. So we were able to go on a little boat that took you into Niagara Falls, and it was beautiful. I mean, it was amazing and spectacular. I mean, the falls are huge. We got to see the Parliament buildings that same trip, which was very nice because I've never been back since. And it was kind of a one-time thing that we were able to do at that time. My wife's uncle is in the military, and he wanted to take us. He lived there too, so he took us to the War Museum, which was very cool. Years later, we went to England, which is this picture here, Ireland, Scotland, and Greece. This was, again, right before we had kids. And it's just the castles. They have ruined castles in the middle of cities. And we got to go to Canterbury, and this is the Canterbury Cathedral. It's huge, huge cathedral with a basement with tombs and tons of stuff that you can see. We went to Dover that same trip, and we saw Dover Castle, which is a very well-preserved castle, and they have the rooms set up as they would have been in medieval times. And you can walk around all the castle grounds up on the walls and look over top and see all the whole scenery. And then the Rosetta Stone in the British History Museum, which is how they translated hieroglyphs. Sorry, I'll go back to modern Greek. Very, very cool. That's one of the coolest things I've seen. After that, we actually went to Corfu, Greece. From England, we went to Corfu, Greece, which is a very small island, but beautiful. And it's one of the more green islands of Greece that from what I've been told. And they have olive groves, and you can walk the whole island. And it's not a very big island, so you're actually able to travel it fairly quickly. And they have little towns spotted here and there, and you can see all the color schemes they have and how narrow everything is. And of course, the sunsets were amazing there, and it was quite a trip. I mean, it was very beautiful, and there was a monastery very close to where we were staying, so we were able to visit the monks. And we traveled the island on a scooter, which was a little crazy because the roads, people don't drive the same. Churches are pretty neat there because you have ancient churches like this, and then you have a modern church like this, and they're set up very similar. I mean, Orthodox churches have been set up the same way for years, but it was just really nice, and the people were very friendly, and they always wanted to talk to you. And the only thing we had to do after that was go back to Scotland. So we went to England, took a train to Scotland, to Glasgow, which was super windy and not a very inviting city, but we did rent a car, which was nice because it allowed us to not stay with a tour group, but the roads were very, very narrow and quite scary. But we could stop, right? We could stop in places. We could stop by the road and go and check out the scenery, and we could take little side roads out. And Scotland was amazing, absolutely beautiful. And we drove all the way around the country. We went way up to the Highlands, which is where you see these Highland cows. But the roads up in the north were, they're so narrow, and then there's like twists and turns everywhere. But we got a chance to travel over to the Isle of Skye in Scotland, and it was just beautiful. And this was on Loch Ness. We got to go to Loch Ness as well. Did not see the Loch Ness Monster. This was Inverness, so we got a chance to actually go to an ancient city of Inverness, which was a beautiful city. This was the scariest place that my wife and I went to. It was very eerie. There were stone circles, and there was human remains found all over this place. They didn't know if it was like sacrifices or whatever, but it was very, very eerie. We stayed here for maybe 45 minutes, and then my wife and I were like, we gotta go. This place just feels very odd. So we left. We got a chance to travel to Edinburgh, which is amazing city. The history there is just amazing. Belfast we went to. After Scotland, we went to Ireland. And Belfast is beautiful. Northern Ireland is the only place we went to this trip. And we stayed on a hostel on a farm in the middle of nowhere. And it was sweet. It was so cool. And the people were so friendly. This is a picture of Giant's Causeway, and I'll show you a few more pictures. It's an amazing and this is a naturally formed rocks, and you could walk, and we traveled all along these paths, but the rock work was just unbelievable, and it was very cool. Northern Ireland has flat plateaus and like cliffs and everything, and the ocean is right there. But yeah, Giant's Causeway, if you ever get a chance to go, amazing. And wherever we went, we always tried to actually, stop in and see some type of, Christian monastery or Christian church. So we stopped in, and my wife and I actually had a chance to stay at this monastery for a night and meet with the monks and meet with the nuns, and just beautiful people, very, very friendly people. But I think that's one of the things about traveling is you meet people that you never would have. And even in this monastery, like there were people that were traveling from all over, and they all came, and there was like a communal room for men and a communal room for women, and you slept there, and you got the chance to chat with these people. Oh, where are you from, and where are you from? And that's going to be really neat about traveling on this trip, especially with the rest of some TLA students and TLA teachers that I've never really had a chance to go outside of my work environment with. So I'm really looking forward to this, and I hope we have a really good trip. Anyways, I hope I didn't talk too long. I hope it didn't last too long. And I'm really looking forward to meeting you guys more and chatting with you more. Thank you very much.